Hello, everybody. Welcome. I'm Jessica Abernathy, and with me today is Tricia Montgomery, and you're listening to Pets Are Family. Welcome. Hi, Tricia.
Hi, Jessica. How are you? Long time no see.
I know it's been all of what, a week?
Longer than that? No, not at all. Not at all. How are you? Have you recovered from SuperZoo?
Yep. I'm going to say yep, but not really.
Yeah, not really. Not really.
I'm in the land of living, I could stay awake a little bit longer now.
That was a tough show. I would say that was out of all the SuperZoos, and you and I have attended quite a bit of them. That was the toughest SuperZoo I think that I've attended, and I think travel had a lot to do with it, and just the sheer volume and trying to cover as many steps or wheels as possible.
I was gonna say, one had wheels, one had steps. Yep, and we're in a competition on who had the worst trip home, and you keep saying yours was bad.
I had the layovers. So first of all, guys, hello, welcome to Pets Are Family. It is amazing for you all to be here with us, or amazing for us to be with you. So we just returned from SuperZoo not too long ago, and I've never heard of a hurricane hitting the California and in the West Coast. But obviously there was a Hurricane Hillary, and it wasn't
84 years. That was the last time and I'm telling you what, I'm just going to tell you this. I'm tired of all the history crap. You know what I mean? I'm sorry. I've lived through a pandemic. I've lived through a terrorist attack. I've lived through a hurricane that has never hit like Vegas. 80 years. I'm over all this crap.
You and me both.
I'm done. I'm done with history. I'm done living history. I'm done.
I don't want to be a part of history anymore. But the funny thing is, I would say to people, "Oh, Hurricane Hillary hit," and they're like, "Hillary Clinton? You're talking about the Clintons?" I'm like, "No, this is not political. This is not a drill. This is not political. There is a hurricane coming." And so and I'll let you all decide. So first of all, after the show, I'm sitting in a bar, and of course you've gone on.
I was at the airport, thank you.
I was at a bar because they'd already canceled my flight. And so we thought, well, might as well drink. And of course they canceled it again. So I got out. You tell your story, then I'll tell mine. When did you get out?
I got out I got to the airport. We tore down, and we were racing to get to the airport. I mean, when I say racing, we got there 50 minutes before departure.
Mm-hmm.
And I was racing to get to the plane to make sure I got on the plane. You know what I mean? And as I was cruising up to the plane, it was like delayed. And I'm like, oh, crap. So I'm like, all right. And I'm like, why are we delayed? And I'm like, and I barely made the flight. You know what I mean? And I was like, crap.
Oh my
gosh. My flight was at 5:30. So I was like, all right. So I'm like, all right, whatever. You know what I mean? So mine got pushed back. Finally at 12:30 a.m., they finally canceled it. Because the pilots that flew in, because they went to LA and it recruited in LA. And unfortunately, for those that don't know, I used to work for the airlines, so I know way too much. It got recruited in LA. So we had fresh crew, but the pilots felt that they were too tired to fly. So if they feel that way, we can't fly, So when the pilots landed, they were too tired. So we had to cancel the flight. It actually wasn't canceled. It was postponed until the next day, right? Which means the hurricane was hitting harder the next day, you know what I mean? Which, delay again. So anyway, I got postponed again, you know what I mean? But, whatever, you know what I mean? And when it's weather delays, the airlines are not responsible for anything because
Yeah.
it's the act of God. So I
Yeah.
stood by for the other flight that was also delayed. So I wound up getting on, and mind you, I did not want to take an all-nighter because I'm too old at this point in life to do these things. I cannot handle all-nighters anymore.
I know.
Deliberately got myself on that 5:30 so I did not have to do an all-nighter. Anyway, the 11:30 flight wound up leaving at 2:30 in the morning or 3 o'clock in the morning. So I landed in Chicago around 8 a.m. because I did get a seat in the middle between two ginormous men. So, you know what I mean? I'm grateful that I lost a lot of weight last year because I was like this. And the guy sitting next to me, Tricia, I forgot to tell you, the guy next to me, literally, and for all the listeners, he was a really nice guy because he might be listening, but I didn't tell him we had a podcast. Really nice guy, did not catch his name. Nice gentleman, but I totally understand why he hasn't got a girlfriend right now. But he let me, he was telling me about the reason he was flying home because he works for the railroad. And if you're out there, cool enough. And for all of the reptile people out there, there's no harm, no foul. I just don't dig snakes myself. But he was telling me about all the snakes that he has in his basement that he had to go home and feed. So he has about 500 snakes in his basement that he raises himself. And he has his own mouse farm in the back that he raises so he can feed his 500 snakes. And as a pet sitter, I had to ask him because I just had to know. Because I was like, do you hire a pet sitter when you're out of town? And how long does it take you to feed them that knows how to feed them? He says it takes him a consistent 24 hours to feed all of them. I was like,
We feed snake, it started all over again. How does that work?
I guess you don't have to feed them consistently. So they eat and then you don't have to eat again for a couple days or so. So they don't have to eat he doesn't need to feed them like consistently like you and I need to eat like every day. They don't need to eat every day.
Snakes creep me out. They totally creep me out. I don't like snakes. I just don't like them. I've got snake stories and I just don't like them at all. But so I did not leave until 11:30. They rerouted. They routed me. They flew me to Detroit. Got in Detroit at like 5:30 in the morning, and then 3-hour layover at the Detroit airport. And shout out to the people at Starbucks because you were open for coffee. I really appreciate you. And even the bar opened up slightly thereafter. So I took the 8:30 flight, and then I landed back in Florida at like 12:30 p.m. and I was just out of it. I just was completely out of it. But I do have to say something. On the flight going to SuperZoo, which was a Tuesday right before we were there with other organizations representing us, Pets for Family, but sat next to this delightful girl. Her name is Kara Schaefer, and she's the new communications director for Pet IQ. Had a lovely conversation with her. You and I met with her at SuperZoo, and just a pleasure to meet her and the people that you meet with the conversations that you have. Even if they're about snakes, it's somebody that you meet. And I love the stories. I love talking to people. And it was really nice to meet her and exciting for her in her new position at Pet IQ. Hi, Kara, if you're listening. Yeah, but SuperZoo, super busy. It was just back to back. It was busy, really busy.
It was a good SuperZoo. I mean, I personally didn't think it was as busy as last year. You think it was, but I don't. You know what I mean? I don't think the attendance was as much, but I'm curious to find out what the actual numbers are.
It was, and they had the highest attendance ever. It was over 21,000 according to the records that they have, but it was the highest attendance ever. So they broke records through WPA, which is the World Pet Association, for SuperZoo, which was amazing. I think we were in different areas and we were walking around. I had an injury and I actually had a lovely little scooter.
Like,
Like, here's what a scooter was. I was totally embarrassed. And I was like, I don't want to be doing this anymore. I was very embarrassed by it.
oh my God, I would have done it. I would have done it for you.
It saved me. I offered to let you use it. But let's talk about some of the things that we noticed and the trends that we noticed at SuperZoo. What'd you notice?
I can tell you that the new colors are muted. There is a lot of muted colors. I mean, it's all light muted colors, like those mint greens, those muted blues. You know what I mean? It's either muted
and a sherbet. It's a sherbet color, like it sounds like a soft, like the melon, the teal. They're all soft colors coming in for this.
Dark, deep colors. It's either muted or dark, like that emerald green, the dark, deep blues, which I like the deep colors. So that was cool. You know, a lot of foods are out on the market right now. A lot of food. I mean,
a lot of foods.
Yeah, a lot of food on the market. A lot of supplements are coming out. You know what I mean? But it's also interesting. So do your research, people. I'm just going to say that. Really do your research. You know.
Yeah, you've got to explore. And I think you mentioned food companies coming on. I have never seen more food companies than I saw at this year's SuperZoo. It's like everybody and their mother have created a pet food brand. And be very careful when you're selecting and choosing those pet foods. You know, speak to your veterinarian. Talk to someone who has a better understanding than more, as far as education. Do your research and find out what's going to be good and best for your breed or your cat or your dog, and speak to your veterinarian about that and talk to an expert about that. And because there's a lot of things coming out right now, and we talk about the things that make us go,
there's a lot of there.
Yeah, and I also think, supplement wise, we saw so many supplements from a standpoint of whether it was a topper, whether it was a pill, whether it was water. There
was one lady. I didn't mean to interrupt you, but there was one. I probably passed it on Tuesday when it was in setup mode, and man, that place was a hot mess on setup day. But on setup day, I passed this one booth, and I never made it back to actually read it, but it was cat water. And I'm like, what is so special about this bottle that it's called cat water? I have to, you know what, I'm going to have to look it up, because it was like, no offense, my cat lovers. And remember, I have Bin Laden. Okay. So, Benny is the king of this house. So but they had cat water. I mean, they had like all cat things, but they like featured cat water. And I was like, I have never heard of cat water.
I think it's gimmicks. I think that it's all these different things of what's going to sell and the appeal to the pet parent. And if a pet parent believes that all of a sudden I'm getting a higher value, and that I believe that in some way that I'm being better to my dog or my cat or my snake or my bird, they're going to buy that.
Right. But it intrigued me, but I didn't stop because it was setup day. You know what I mean? And I never went back. But I was like, I've never heard of cat water. I mean, I'm gonna have to
I never have. It's funny because a mutual friend of ours, Jody Teiche, pet health coach, saw her, and she said, I picked up this bracelet. And so they were selling bracelets, and I go, Jody, what does that bracelet do? And she's like, well, it's a magnetic field and it does this and this and this. I go, okay. So everyone was there. One company that I would like to just talk about for a second, and she's based in Chicago, and I have watched her for 2 years now. That is Ava of Ava's Pet Palace.
I did not see her. Was she there?
God, Yeah, she was over by over in the 2000s, over in that area.
Okay.
And
Yeah, I was
phenomenal.
over in almost the 7,000, so I was on the other end of the world.
Yeah, she's amazing. So, a little story about Ava. When she first kind of came up with this business plan, I think she was in kindergarten, and she actually took a piece of paper and she did a drawing of what it looked like, you know, a castle and a palace, and she held on to that. She is now 16 years old. She's been running this business with her parents for a little over 3 years now, and she's now in major stores, but it's Ava's Pet Palace, and this girl is hands down a winner. She is inspiring. She is committed to her business, and it's a family business. They're doing everything themselves, and they've got treats, and they've got, you know, dog treats and cat treats, and they were in the at one point they were hand making them, and now I think they've gone beyond that. But talk about having a dream, and just all of a sudden it comes true, and to have that, you know, that wish or that hope or that dream when you're 5, 6 years old, this is what I'm going to do, and to look back on it and go, she did that, and she's just really cool. Ava's Pet Palace, and check her out. She's absolutely phenomenal. Her parents are just amazing. Their whole family was there. Their grandfather was there. The grandmother was there, and it was truly that family business. And she's, you know, and giving something from a not a shout out, but also a recognition for African American, for Black businesses in the pet industry. There's not that many of them, and here is a girl who started when she was 12, 13 years old, and to be at this caliber where she is right now.
But
I give you all,
I mean, it
yeah,
just shows, I mean, dedication, I mean, strength. It's, you know, I mean, entrepreneurship is not easy.
oh,
I mean, I've been doing it for years. It is not easy, but you know, that hustle is
yeah,
you can't teach hustle, and
you cannot.
you can't teach it. Either you have it or you don't, you know.
You do, and she's got it, and her whole family, and they've seen this vision, and just kind of, I wonder what the sacrifices that they've made to get her to where she is, and just what she's done from schooling, because, you know, here she is 16 years old, just learning to drive, and that she's got this business, and what has she given up
Yeah.
to be the businesswoman that she is. I was asking her about college, and she's like, I don't even know, you know.
But she's made her own money to pay for it. You know what I mean? She doesn't have to ask mom and dad for it. Good for her.
I know, but what's your next move? You know, you've done this, you've raised this bar. What's your next move? What's something that you saw? What's your, and that also goes along with, very quickly, some of the trends were women owned, sustainability, and made in the USA. And we know several companies like that. Who did you see that you were just like, wow, I got to talk about this company?
You know, I didn't get to get around very much. You know that, right? I didn't get to go walk around that much, but let's see. What did I see? You know, I saw a lot of cat stuff. I really did. Like, it is funny because I would walk around and I would be like, oh, Bin Laden would like that. Oh, Bin Laden would like that. Oh, Bin Laden would love that. I'm not kidding you. So I didn't catch a lot of the names of the companies, but I did see that there's a lot of self-cleaning litter boxes that are going to be on the market coming out.
I get,
you know what I mean? And to be honest with you, you know what I mean, there's so many that are coming, you know what I mean, that are, it's, you know, it's overwhelming, you know what I mean? And then there was a lot of like, I saw a lot of the backpack, wow, that was not easy for me to say, carriers, you know, to carry your like cats and dogs in, you know what I mean, with the bubbles and stuff like that. I'm not sure how I feel about those, you know what I mean? But they had them well ventilated, but I'm still not sure how I feel about those.
I just can't see that. I've seen a lot of people doing that, if they'll even front carriers or back carriers. If I was a cat and if I was on your back, I'm so sorry, I gotta go. Love you, I gotta go. I don't like those. I don't know if it's a personal preference, but I just don't. I don't know. Not a fan.
There was a booth out by me that and it was just and it was called Fountain something, and I can't remember the whole company, but it was all unique water fountains. You know how like the cats have like the little like trickling because they like the little waterfalls. Okay, they had some really, really cool water fountains. Like I was like intrigued. Like I love the sound of water. That's like one of my, I have the Calm app. I love them. By the way, if you want to come talk to me anytime, feel free because I actually am a member. I love the Calm app. So
Too.
I do. I love it. I use it every night. I either do the babbling brook or the ocean or the rolling thunderstorms.
We both use a Calm app. Are you and I Calm?
Huh?
We both use the Calm app.
Oh, I love it. It's my favorite.
Are you and I Calm?
Uh-huh. Yep, I love it. It's like my favorite. So
okay.
Yeah, so a couple booths down or a couple up in the road, but there's this fountain. So they had like really cool fountains. Like they would like be like cascading waterfalls, but then they would have like these extreme like ones, but they had like bigger ones for like the dogs that want them because they never do them for dogs, like big dogs.
Right.
So like they had one that was like big round ones and it looked like a hurricane, like hurricane water going. I mean, like, and I was like, oh, that'll get all that, like I was thinking my sister's got 2 Newfies, right?
Right.
I was thinking of my sister's Newfies because you know how they get that drool spit crap, you know what I mean? So I was like, well, that'll wash the spit away, you know what I mean? Like, and I was like, oh, that's really kind of cool. I mean, it's like they had like they were cool water stations. I was like, I did those, but there were also pretty ones. So like they could be like they would sit in your kitchen and they would be like decorative, but you wouldn't even know that they're a water fountain, but they were totally cool water stations. So I was just like, oh, I like those. So they had some really, really cool ones. But I can tell you this, they were not made in America.
See, that's just it. What I noticed and what we talked about, and we actually there was a television segment and so that affiliated with women sustainability and made in the USA. And just those products and highlighting those because I went to a Pet Sustainability Coalition dinner at Cabo Wabo. I think that's what it was. Tequila's flowing, that's all I know. Anyway, but a lot of these a lot of companies have made like 2 Bostons out of Chicago. They have 7 stores. A lot of these companies now are saying we are committed to sustainability. We're committed to the planet. And Pet Sustainability Coalition, and Caitlin is phenomenal. She's one of the founders. She actually helps companies become more sustainable. Okay. And I think it was Mike from Pet Food Experts, and even I think it was from Philips. Some of the major distributors were up there from representing products that are committed to sustainability, because when you think about it from the planet perspective and our pets, how important is that to really focus on the sustainability? And you and I know a lot about sustainability. We both work with companies who are committed to sustainability and the planet, toxicity, and all those different things, and how important that was. But for the efforts that they're doing, shout out. And if there's any pet brands that want to be part of the Pet Sustainability Coalition, contact them, reach out to them, because they're really doing a very beautiful effort in the quest to keep more and more of the pet industry's brands on target for sustainability. And how important is that? And that they'll help you along the way. Really love that. I also got a chance to go by the Indie Pet Retailer Network get together. And, when you look at in the world of big box and a lot of these larger stores, and we know who they are, that you've got a lot of independent pet retailers who need help, and they want to make sure that they're surviving, and how important it is to shop local, and how important it is to work with these independent pet retailers. And many of them have many, many, many stores, but they're not part of a big box chain or in that big kind of conglomerate of where they're on, their IPOs and they're on the stock exchange under all these other ones, and they don't own conglomerates of pharmaceutical and pet food companies and everything like that. So a lot of control within some of those brands. But very important to visit your local independent pet retailer. I think you would, in all throughout the US, there are so many of them. You can actually visit their website and find out independent pet retailers who may be in your neck of the woods. And so that's indiepet.com or indiepetretailers.com. We'll have a link for you. But how cool that is, and to make sure that you really visit those guys. And I think Todd Dittman is the executive director, and give him a shout out. And yeah, he's doing a great job and really focusing on those efforts for the indie pet retailers.
Yeah. And I'm going to get this because I'm super geeked. I know I told you. I think I told you. I know I told you. So
Okay.
I crashed the party. So I crashed the Two Crazy Cat Ladies podcast party.
Oh, okay.
And I got to meet Jay and Adrian.
Nice.
Yes, I did. And I got to chat with them. They are the two nicest ladies ever. I mean, they are just as nice as they seem like they are on the podcast. They are so sweet. And they do love cats. They are the nicest people. And I invited them to come see us, be on the podcast. So sometime in the future, they are going to be on the podcast. But they are the nicest ladies. And what's really great about them is that I had introduced myself because I did crash their party. But I had gone with a fellow podcaster that I know, and I just went with them, and it was a fellow old board member from NAPS, you know what I mean, my NAPS people. And anyway, I crashed it and I introduced myself, and at the end of the evening I went up and said, I said goodbye, you know what I mean, politely, like I do. And they remembered my name. I was like, crap. I'm like, crap, I'm gonna have to remember theirs. I'm like, I am old. And they're up there with us, and I'm like, oh crap, I'm like, I'm the worst with names, so I'm like, oh crap, they are the nicest ladies. They are just darling. So you know what I mean, besides listening to us, you've got to check them out, and I'll put the links in there. But they are so cool. They are like, they were cool. I had a great time at their event. They had some great people there. I got to talk to Billy. He's part of Green Juju. So I was chit-chatting with him for a while.
Yeah.
And then I was talking to Carter. He's also with CBD. Oh, Billy's going to kill me because I've only seen him like twice now. He's part of CBD.
Give a link, look it up.
Yeah, I'm just going to put the link in there, Billy. Sorry. But I'm going to have him on the podcast because I love him to death. And I bought his product, and it works for my dog. It's CBD product or something like that. Sorry, Billy, but I use Calm on my dog, and it works great. And it's amazing. You know what I mean? But it's a great product for my dog. But I was chit-chatting with him because I met him here at another event that I went to, and I ran into him and at the event, and I was like, oh my God, the product really works great on my dog, because my dog has huge anxiety over rain.
Oh my God.
So I got to run into him, and and then I told you I actually flew I was flying with Brucewaynedepug, which he is got a spinal injury, and he was cruising around. Yeah, he's got a spinal injury, so he is paralyzed. And he was cruising around, but he flew home with his parents, and him flew home with us. You know what I mean?
Nice.
Yeah. So, but he was at the party. So, you can follow him on Instagram. So I'll put his link in there. I mean, there was a lot of people there. It was really cool. I mean, I kind of felt like I was like crashing a Hollywood party.
Well, it's pet industry, of course. One thing that I want to talk about. So what I noticed was, so when I go back into years, obviously I've been part of the profession for 25 years now. I have never seen as many veterinarians and academia people at SuperZoo than ever before. It is interesting to me that now how the worlds are colliding, how the pet industry is really converging with the veterinary profession and animal welfare. I found that incredibly interesting how many veterinarians I met, holistic veterinarians, and just all kinds of people that were there, you know, to understand more about the industry, the latest trends, and really made a point to understand more about products and the conversations. I thought it was phenomenal, just because I think we look at things, you and I consider myself kind of by trifecta for the veterinary profession, animal welfare, and the pet industry. That I just do. It's one thing I think that really, when we talk about us, it sets us apart. And
I think you saw more of it though than I did, because you were more in the food. You were more in the natural food section.
Natural pet, yeah.
You were, yeah, because you were more by the food than I was. I was more by the product. So the vets that I saw, because I saw a lot of vets too, but the vets that I saw were product based. And the ones that I saw all were not happy. And they were yes, you know what I mean? Because I talked to quite a few vets too. And all the vets that I talked to are not coming back because they were very disappointed. But mine were product based, whereas yours were more food based, you know, supplemental, you know what I mean, holistic, which I get. So you mean you were very much in a different world than I was. I mean, I was very much into, I mean, I had, you know what I mean,
but you were an emerging product. You were an emerging product category. So there were a lot of other, you know,
but I was also, I mean, everything up my aisles were also products.
Yeah.
I mean, I was very much product based, where you were very much more food and, you know, supplement health. Where I was more products area. I mean, I was very much in the product area, where you were very much in the food and supplement area.
Right. Well, I tell you what, they personally, I think they do a good job. I mean, I see the hard work that goes behind the scenes and what they do, and the amount of, I mean, the amount of effort and things like that. It's just crazy what the staff at WPA. And so a shout out to Alice Albanese and Deanna. You guys, I love you all. You guys do such a great job. Yeah,
I'm not saying there was anything bad about it. I mean, if you walk the floor, it's a 5 mile floor. I'm not saying it's not, it's a 5 mile floor. If you walk the whole floor, it's 5 miles. I'm not saying anything bad. It's just, it's segregated very much.
It is. Totally
And
is.
I was in the product side. You were very much on the food side. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you know what I mean? And the guys that I talked to were just, you know, they were doing they were product based versus food based. And they were just not happy, you know what I mean? Because product based, what they were doing, you know what I mean? The people that were coming to me were retailers looking for the up and coming stuff to put in their stores for Christmas and stuff. They're, you know what I mean? So they're not looking for vets that I've got like the newest and greatest thing that's going to go in the vet store, you know what I mean? Or, you know, the vet, you know, for the vets, you know what I mean? So it wasn't the right show for them. They need to be at VMX, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, and they were just not at the right show, you know what I mean? So that was their mistakes, you know what I mean? And that's why I said, you know, the ones I was talking to were just not at the right show.
Yeah, I thought it'd been a great show, really great show.
Yeah.
I also just want to give another shout out here if I can. There's an incredible company, and you know how we find these great people who are doing things a little bit differently. It's an incredible company called Finley's Dog Barkery, and you know who they are. Founder story. A husband and a wife used to teach high school, and part of their project was they dealt with children in special needs. And so what they had to do was find kind of something that they could do, perhaps they could take later on as life skills. And so they began making dog treats. And many of these children, or children at the time, had just special needs. And the kids came back to them years later and said, I want to do this. I want to start doing this. And what can I do? And is there something, what kind of a job can I get? So they created a company called Finley's Dog Barkery. And they are in multiple stores across the country right now. It's called Finley's Dog Barkery, and we'll have a link for you. But what Finley's does is they employ only people with special needs. and they're ambassadors, and the people that work their booth are people with special needs, whether it's Down syndrome or other things as well. And then a portion of their proceeds goes towards helping people with special needs and helping them gain employment and helping them find employment. And so for you out there, if you're listening to us, if you, and I know some of these children and some of these schools that actually help them find work, they do ambassador programs all across the country. And so you can do pop-up stores, you can do all kinds of different events, and they'll supply you with everything and they'll train you. That is education and a way to make income, but also supporting a beautiful cause and a tremendous company. Again, Finley's Dog Barkery, and I can't say enough about them. They're really, things that just touch my heart, and I'm like, oh gosh, and so I know them well, Chelsea and the group over there, very impressed by them, and and Andrea. So giving you all a shout out. And so again, visit their I've never tasted their treats, but I would imagine they're absolutely fantastic.
I was gonna say, I mean, I don't know about you, but in my youth, and I'm gonna say in my early youth, and there was a lot of liquor involved, I did eat a couple dog treats, and that's a story for another day, but I'm not into eating dog treats.
Liquor. I've had like those Frosty Paws push-ups when I was with the Chicago VMA. We would get samples. Even when you get samples in, it tastes like pumpkin. I'd taste one. Absolutely. If it's natural, I don't care.
No.
Good for me, good for my dog.
No.
And by the way,
no.
To our audience, I am contemplating getting another dog.
I know.
And I know. So I've gone through a couple of applications, and I'm looking at different dogs through different rescue organizations. And then I actually have a call going out to, or they've been calling me, Cape Coral Humane Society. Liz McCauley, who you've met here, she's been on here before, but she's got a couple of dogs she wants me to come see. Your sister at the Newfie Rescue in Florida. But I am on a journey right now. So stay tuned, because I'll be getting.
I was gonna say, and ours reached out to you too. I think you've been approved by them too, because they're ready for some money.
I know. I just want to make sure I make the right choice. And so I'm really being very careful.
You need to foster to adopt. I think that's what you need to do, is to find the right boy.
I know the problem with fostering, I love them all. And I used to be a professional foster mom like a year ago, and that's all I did. Every week I had a new dog, and I'd fall in love with it, and it'd break my heart. And then it would move on, and then we'd go up for transport. So join me on this journey, keep watching, but I'll have a new pup here sooner rather than later. So yeah, and also just giving a shout out to Greenline Pet Supply Company, giving a shout out to Augie Bones, our friends at Augie Bones, and then our friends at MuttGut. So Jennifer, Tanya Hart, and Michelle Griffin, and so many countless other people that are part of us and part of our organization, and just love you guys. Thaizo from Breezy Ball, she's got some inventions coming out. Jody Teiche. We've got so many friends who are part of SuperZoo. We saw so many of you guys, and just a lot of people, amazing people out there.
Yep, and we got some good things coming in, with Pets Are Family. We got a few changes coming around the corner,
Oh, yeah. So got some really cool stuff launching here very, very, very soon, sooner rather than later. So you guys want to check out petsorfamily.net and let us know what you think, and then we'll be sharing some good news very, very soon. And also giving another keep watching for moosesmarch.com. Moose's March,
November.
We're kicking that off in, actually we have a webinar coming up November the 9th that is going to be facilitated by Steve Dale, and everybody knows Steve Dale, our favorite Steve Dale.
Oh.
We need to get him on our podcast here. He has Pet World, and he's on WGN, and just amazing guy, and can't say enough about him. And then our friends at Volition Veterinary, they have all the beautiful, they're doing the pre-cancer testing for pets. and how important that is, and lots of good news coming up there. But again, that's going to be launching in October, but the seminar is November the 9th. So giving you guys a heads up about that for Moose's March. Feel free to visit moosesmarch.com as well as petsorfamily.net. And you can watch us on petsorfamily.net. You can hear us on Spotify, Apple, Google Play, all kinds of things. And just more to come from this dynamic duo, which is Jessica and myself, and just excited about things.
Yep, we are, you know, and shout out to Kathy at Naps. Always do it. That's my thing, you know. Sorry, gotta do it.
Love it. Guys, thanks for sticking with us. Jessica, take us out.
All right. How do you make your family feel like a pet? Yep, that's the SuperZoo still in me. How do you make your pet feel like family? Mwah, have a good night. We hope you enjoyed this new episode, and if you did, please leave us a review on Spotify or wherever you're listening to us today. If you want to reach out to us, feel free to find us on petsourfamily.net or any of our social channels, Facebook, Instagram, or LinkedIn. And we want to remind you, pets are family. Have a good one. We'll see you in 2 weeks. Bye, guys.